Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We are back for another video. This one is the fixtures and transfer tips video, as always, on a Tuesday evening. We're here to discuss game week 10. So we're going to look ahead at what players you should be looking to buy and sell, and also looking at fixtures and sort of players we're looking to target, etc. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? How's your week going so far?
Yeah, all as well so far. It seems like these game weeks are flying by. Already coming up to game week 10, and yeah, it's going to be interesting when there's lots of talks, obviously, with teams, who to keep, whatnot. Haaland's the most, I think, the biggest talking point, obviously, if you keep or hold him, but amongst other things as well to discuss.
Yeah, we'll discuss it in this video. So let's talk about fixtures first, as we normally do. So I'll let you go first. Talk us through, the fixtures and why you sort of selected these three teams to target.
Yeah, so the first one you see on the screen is obviously Brentford. I thought this week it's a good week, I think, to obviously target the Brentford players, in particular the attack, because obviously Brentford haven't kept a clean sheet so far this season. So I thought more reason, better off to go for the attacking players in the team rather than the defensive ones, as it hasn't quite worked out for a lot of the teams, if I'm honest, for clean sheets. Next one down below obviously is Wolves. Now that their fixtures have swung, we're now seeing a nice run of green fixtures for them, and we've seen a lot of performances, very successful performances from Game Week 9 from certain players in that Wolves team, especially against a difficult fixture against Brighton. And now they have Crystal Palace at home, who have struggled through the season. That's another fixture you can obviously target. And last but not least, you've got obviously Everton, who have potentially the best fixture on paper, with Southampton away, the most goals conceded in terms of Southampton against any opposing team in the Premier League, which is why they're also another fixture to target if you're looking at any Everton players, if you're obviously, in case there's any injuries, or you're looking to save up money as well.
Yeah, so going through what I think, really, I think obviously Brentford have been started the season off really well. They've got the likes of Mbeumo, who I'm sure we'll come on to, doing really well. Wolves, I like some of their players now. We know Aït-Nouri's getting goals. I've had him, as I said, he's going to be popular. He's had a price rise last night as well, so I think he's 4.5 million. So he's quite popular. I expect his ownership to rise. Someone I've been mentioning for a couple of weeks now, as under the radar, but I think now a lot of people are looking at him. Everton, I'm not too keen on Everton, to be honest. Still, as a Calvert-Lewin owner myself, who still haven't really scored a goal for me since I brought him in on the Game Week 6 wildcard. But yeah, let's look at the sort of the players in these teams. Now, we've mentioned Mbeumo as the one really that we're looking at, main guy. Wissa is also a great option at a cheap price, under the £6 million mark. Wolves, there's Cunha, I think, is a great option. I think Strand Larsen is also a really good option as well. If you want to go Strand Larsen and you need a cheap striker, I think he's 5.4 million, Strand Larsen, so he does provide you good value. And Aït-Nouri we've discussed as well, really good option. Good fixtures coming up, got a goal on the weekend, and he's someone that has a lot of attacking threat. So if you need a cheap defender, Aït-Nouri would be sort of near the top of our list, looking at bringing in. And then, yeah, with Everton, I'm not as keen on Everton, if I'm being honest. As a DCL owner myself, there's McNeil, who's been decent as well this season, but he's been a bit quiet last couple of games, not really getting many returns. But they've got decent fixtures. Southampton is a game that you want to hold possibly the Everton players for. I think give a DCL another week if you probably have him. I wouldn't sell DCL before the Southampton game, but yeah, it is frustrating at the moment owning him, I think. But yeah, I think you've got to give him time.
Yeah, I think this is possibly, if you've kept Everton assets up to this moment, you have to give them at least a chance against Southampton, who have had poor results. And you would expect, even though Man City only scored one against them in Game Week 9, that Everton can possibly get a few against them in, obviously, Game Week 10, even though they're playing away.
Yeah, so let's take a few comments as well, because a lot of comments coming in about transfers. So Spurs, hey guys, my current team is Sanchez, Robinson, Trent, Porro, Mbeumo, McNeil, Palmer, Roger, Solanke, Haaland, Cunha. Next game week we'll have 1 free transfer and 3.4 in the bank. Thinking about going to Trent to Aït-Nouri, then taking a -4 to go Rogers, McNeil to Saka, or do transfer to Saka following week on a void hit this week. I've already gone Havertz to Cunha to free up 3.4. I wouldn't take any hits, Spurs, at this moment in time. I think you're okay to go without Saka this week.
Yeah.
And then look to maybe bring Saka in when the fixtures turn for Saka in game week 12. I think when he's got the nice fixtures from 12. So you can delay that. I wouldn't want to take a hit there, Spurs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a rush to bring in like a Saka at the moment, even though he had a very good game against Liverpool. I still think you can go without him for the next 2 and then bring him obviously back in game week 12 where his fixtures do swing.
Soul Searcher, thinking of going double Wolves with Strand Larson and Cunha. Captain Cunha v Southampton. I'm not sure I'll be willing to do that myself, but I don't mind Strand Larson as a pick, to be fair. I think he's a good option.
Yeah. We're also going to see a lot of different captaincies, especially if people are taking out Haaland, like, for example, Cunha. Then, there is going to be a variation of different captaincies, which I guess is exciting. I guess going against Haaland, but very dangerous.
Ali Mack also says, evening lads, who to get rid of first, DCL or Solanke. So I'm in your boat as well, Ali Mack. So it depends really if you need the money to who are you going to bring in to take the money out. So you can go Solanke. I've just not giving much away, but I've actually taken out Solanke from my team so I can afford Salah. So if you want to go up to a Salah, then I would probably get rid of Solanke first, even though I've mentioned DCL has been pretty disappointing. It's just because Solanke is more expensive, so it gives you more money to take up into the midfield. And DCL still has a good fixture this week against Southampton, where Solanke plays. Trying to see who Solanke plays again.
Aston
Villa. Yeah. So it's a tougher game for Solanke. So I probably would get rid of Solanke and then move that money up to midfield, whether you want a Salah, a Palmer, or a Saka, and move it up to a premium forward. I'll see Ten Hag sacking Jordan. Do you have any thoughts on that as a United fan?
I mean, as a Man United fan, I'm not ecstatic that he's been sacked because to be honest, in my opinion, it doesn't solve the problem. The problem goes much deeper in the club. But the new manager that's been announced, if I'm honest, I've not heard of him before. But obviously, I will do some research on him to see obviously what club he is from and how he is in terms of a manager. But it is, I guess, exciting because it's a manager that I don't know personally and not very known of. So it will be interesting to see what he does for Man United.
Okay, Soul Searcher also front line will be Strand, Cunha, and Solanke up until Ipswich fixture, then move him to Jackson. We'll try and get Salah in for the Southampton fixtures too. I think Salah, Southampton could be really nice. Could be a nice game there. Shaq says taking Saka out seems a bit odd. He's their talisman. Everything goes through him, and he showed that on the tough fixture against Liverpool. Big players to turn up in the important games. Yeah, I agree, Shaq. In terms of taking out Saka, I was really hesitant to do it. I didn't really want to take Saka out, but I think Salah is a better pick. And if I want to have Salah in, it's the sacrifice I've got to make with Saka. I am still looking at bringing Saka back into my team, but it'll probably mean downgrading my goalie and then downgrading one of my forwards to Strand Larson. So there's a lot to do to bring Saka back in. But I've seen teams with Saka, Salah, Palmer, and Haaland. The way you can get that, you don't have a cheap goalie, like a 4.4 million goalie like Dean Henderson. Have Strand Larson and Raul Jimenez up front, and you can sort of get away with it. And you can't have Mbeumo. You've got to have a cheap, like a 4.5 million midfielder. So the reason why I've done it is I just want Salah in my team. I just think not having him every week, he's getting a goal every week and bonus points, and I just think Salah's going to go really big in the next two fixtures against Brighton and the Southampton Liverpool have.
Yeah, I think it's got also depend on also who obviously scores the most points. Like I will assume that every premium is going to have rack up some points in the next three fixtures, but it will be interesting to see who's the better choice and combination to go for that individual who got different premiums in our team that we have to sacrifice.
Yeah, I think with the premiums this year, you're going to get ones at Hall that you don't have. Like if you don't have Saka, he might go Hall, and then if you don't have Salah, he will Hall 1 week. I just think it's just that sort of season. The the hauls are unpredictable. So sometimes you get Palmer that gets you 25 points, and Haaland might get you a hat trick. In terms of obviously why I want Salah in, I am potentially tempted to captain Salah this week against Salah at Brighton at home at Anfield, and then Haaland plays Bournemouth, isn't it? Bournemouth for Haaland, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
it's a away fixture.
I am tempted. Yeah, it's an away game. I am tempted with Salah, to be honest with you, against Brighton at home. But again, we'll have to see. But I've bought Salah in, and I'll show you guys, shortly in the in the team selection video on Thursday. Let's look at fixtures as well. Let's bring up some of the teams to target now. I do want to show you on the FDR website as well, the FPL website, because I just think you can see a lot more fixtures on there. So just bear with me. I'll just share my screen with you guys. So these are the current fixtures. I'm going to zoom in for you guys. Hopefully you guys can see that. So in terms of Arsenal, I think the next two is tough. So I wouldn't like to really target. I mean, that's why I've got rid of Saka personally for Salah. I just think the fixtures aren't great for Arsenal in the next two. I can see these being tough games, especially Chelsea. I expect. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea get something in that game, if I'm being honest with you, maybe even a draw. So I would avoid Arsenal for the next two. If you've got Saka, I still think he's good enough to hold. He can still return in these games, as he showed against Liverpool. He did score against them. Aston Villa, I'd probably avoid. Again, I wouldn't look to bring in a Watkins at the moment. If you've got Rodgers, probably bench him in these couple of games. Bournemouth, not really anyone that I like the look of. Brentford and Mbeumo, again, we know he's on fire. He's got some really nice games coming up against Bournemouth, Everton and Leicester. That run of three. I think, for me, Mbeumo captain in Game Week 13, guys. I probably will captain Mbeumo in Game Week 13, because when you look at Salah and Haaland, they play against each other in Game Week 13. And Mbeumo has a home game against Leicester. So I'm looking at Mbeumo captaincy in Game Week 13 at the moment.
Yeah, it could be a nice week where you obviously decide to pick another, obviously non-premium player like an Mbeumo. As a non-Mbeumo owner, obviously I am fearful at the current moment of what he does in the next game week. But I think for me, soon I have to bring Mbeumo in, because he looks very dangerous so far this season.
Brighton, you'd want to avoid. I think the next two games are tough. Liverpool and Man City. After that, the fixtures aren't too bad. Chelsea, I've been impressed with Chelsea, especially Palmer. We know how well he started the season. I think Jackson's a great option, but due to rotation and things like that, and Nkunku can play, that's just the only thing that puts me off Jackson. But I think Jackson's a great option, and he will get you goals. But I just think there's so many cheap forwards, by the 5-6 million, like Cunha, Raul Jimenez. Just sort of makes me think, you could get away with going without Jackson and just having the cheap forwards who are sort of scoring at a similar rate to him. Palace, they've been disappointing. I think Eze's still a decent shout, but I'm not really interested in any of their picks. I mean, what have you made of Palace's start? They were brilliant last season. Not happened for them this season.
They have lost a lot of key players, though, compared to the end of last season when they had all of them. And now they've all departed from Crystal Palace, and that has affected the team overall. If it is hopeful, though, Eze did get an assist. If that means anything for those who do have the faith in keeping him in the team in Game Week 9.
Yeah.
But it's hard to ignore those nice fixtures in the next two, for Game Week 10 11. Maybe we see a resurgence from maybe an Eze or even Mateta, who did in fact score as well. And I was surprised that he hasn't been played more in the fixtures that Crystal Palace have. He's been benched a lot. So maybe the manager's seen that, and it can change the things around for Crystal Palace in terms of Eze and Mateta.
Moving on to Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford for them next. I think if you've got DCL, I think give him Southampton. If he doesn't do it against Southampton, then if you want to sell him to a Cunha or a Jimenez or even a Strand Larsen, I think you're more than your right to do so. But he's got the fixtures. So I think I'd give DCL another game. For McNeil, I think it's still good to play in these fixtures as well. You can even play the likes of Mikalenko in these games. You can potentially see a clean sheet. Fulham, we know the main option. Raul Jimenez, I think he's a great pick at his price. Smith Rowe's still there if you want to add him in to the mix. So the Brentford, Palace and Wolves isn't bad.
No,
you can play those in those fixtures. You can see Jimenez getting some returns.
Even a Robinson in defence He does show attacking threat and possibly might see a clean sheet in the next 3 in one of those fixtures.
Yeah, it's playable, definitely playable in these games. Ipswich will probably look to avoid some of their players at the moment. They do have Leicester at home, so newly promoted teams playing against each other. But you could play someone like a Delap, possibly. Leicester, Ipswich away, so they play against each other. At the moment, not really looking at any Leicester assets, but decent fixture for them. Liverpool, as I mentioned, I think Salah is prime, in terms of targets that I think people will be looking at. He's also had a price rise last night. I think he's now 12.7 million. And I'm bringing Salah in. I've already done the move before the price rise. And I think he's got 2 really good games. And we'll look at the next 3. Brighton and at home is a good fixture for him. I think Southampton away, you probably want to captain Salah that week when Haaland plays Tottenham. I think Salah probably will be, unless you're going to go Haaland that week, or would you say Salah against Southampton, it would be your captain pick that week?
By a long way. Yeah, I think so. I think it is Salah for me for that week. I'm just siding towards it at the moment. It seems to go in the way of obviously having Salah in the team.
Yeah, that's why I've actually made the move for Salah. I just think in the next 3 games, he's going to go big. I just have a feeling he might get you a brace in one of these games. And we know Jota's still out. Jota is injured until... so Jota's going to miss the next 2 games. So I think there's an international break after Aston Villa, right?
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, there's an international break after game week 11, which is another international break, annoyingly. So Jota will miss Brighton and Villa. So that Salah will be the main man. I know Darwin's there, but and I like the Southampton fixture. After that, Man City, Newcastle, Everton, Fulham. So Liverpool have navigated this sort of fixture list pretty well. So we'll have to see how it goes, and I'm confident that Salah can return in these games. Man City, they got Bournemouth, Brighton next, so good games for them. What do you make of City in terms of people looking to potentially sell Erling Haaland? What do you make of those people?
I don't know if I'm going there. At the start of the season, I went without Haaland until I think game week 4, and I think I wild Haaland him in to my team. And going against Haaland, it didn't work out for me. Maybe now it does because we've seen a bit less form from him. He's missed big chances. Only scored 1 against Southampton, which was key for them to win that game. But I still think he's essential in terms of owning him. I don't think selling him is the right idea. I think it's the wrong time still. It's a bit early to back off of Salah. Obviously, Haaland, now. I think give him more time, see what he does in the next 2. If he's still disappointing, then maybe you can get rid of him when he has Tottenham and Liverpool next after those 2 fixtures. But for now, he's a keep, I think, in your team. Maybe not captain, but a keep.
Yeah, I'm not willing to sell Haaland still. I just think he can still get you a hat-trick or a brace against Bournemouth or Brighton, and then we'll all be panicking again to bring him back in. So I'm not looking to bring him in. I'm not looking to take him out. He's going to be in my team, and I can't see myself selling him unless I see, a lot more worse form from him. He could have had a hat-trick against, Southampton in his last game. I triple captained him, and he should have had a hat-trick, but it's one of those games. But I'm not looking to sell Haaland. If you are looking to sell Haaland, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. He hadn't shown the last couple of games that Man City don't look the same team. I think it's fair to say without Rodri. But if KDB comes back, maybe Haaland becomes a great option again. Fixtures do turn slightly, but I'm not willing to do it. If you want to get Salah in, etc., fair play. But I'd rather have both. Newcastle. Man United. Man United and Newcastle. I don't know why I missed Man United out. They've just sacked their manager. We know Ten Hag's gone. Van Nistelrooy will take charge for Chelsea at home. I wouldn't bring in any Man United players in personally ahead of game 10, but see how they do against Chelsea if there's a new manager bounce. I think Man United's fixtures against Leicester, Ipswich, and Everton very, very nice on paper. 2 back-to-back games against newly promoted teams, then Everton at home. Now, if you want to take a punt, like a 1-week punt on a Bruno or a Højlund or a Garnacho, I think these fixtures are really nice. If you are looking to bring in a Man United asset, and I wouldn't rule it out, guys, about bringing a Man United player in. See how they do against Chelsea, because they might get that lift and that bounce. Now Ten Hag's gone, they might turn up. We've seen it before when Ollie left. When Ollie came in, they had the bounce. Ten Hag came in, they had the bounce. usually does happen when a new manager comes in. They usually have a little uptick in form, and I wouldn't mind bringing a Man United player in there for that next 3 runs just to be different, because a lot of managers won't even be looking at Man United assets, I don't think, because of the way they play in the season. But this could change things for Man United. This could be an improvement for them, and those 3 fixtures look nice on paper. So I am looking at Man United players again as an option now that Ten Hag is gone.
Yeah, and obviously that Chelsea game does give it a watch and see how Man United now cope without Ten Hag and see the difference. And then obviously that makes you ready for the next 3 afterwards when they have nice fixtures.
Newcastle, Arsenal at home, I would be avoiding their assets. But after that, Forest, West Ham, Palace. I don't know if Isak's injured. He came back, he scored, didn't he, last game week? But he could be an option. But at his price, I'm not a fan just with the structure of my team. But Newcastle, I've not been impressed with them, this season. But let us know, guys, if you're still keen on the Newcastle assets. But I wouldn't be going there myself. Forest, very impressive so far this season. Chris Wood, we know he's on fire at the moment. So yeah, I think Chris Wood is a good option in the next couple of games. And, likes of, Ola Aina, you can play them in a couple of games. They've been good defensively as well for us. So they've been impressive. And I know Wood was flagged, but he should be fine. But just we'll see, waiting for team news, I guess.
Yeah.
Southampton, not really anyone that we're looking at the moment. Spurs is an interesting one. What to do with Solanke? I think for me, I personally probably would get rid now, guys. It's not, you don't have to sell him, but if you need the money to bring in a Salah or a Palmer, I would get rid of a Solanke. If you've got Son, if he's fit, I think he's fine. But the Aston Villa Spurs game, I can see a lot of goals in that one. I can see something like a 2-2. So maybe you don't want to sell a Johnson or a Solanke because there will be goals in this game, I predict. So I think it's a good fixture for the attackers.
And also, do you get rid of the Spurs players before the Ipswich game after that as well? Because would you want to wait until Man City the following week before you decide to sell them before those 2?
Yeah, I think they're great fixtures. I mean, Ipswich is a good fixture for Spurs. If you've got Brendan Johnson, I think he's an easy hold. It's just Solanke, I think, is an option where I've got rid because I don't really like the way he's playing. He's coming deep quite a lot, not getting involved in the attack. But if you've got Johnson, I'd probably hold for the next 2, see how he does, and then take it from there. West Ham, big win for them against Man United. However, there's not really anyone I like at the moment still. They've got the likes of Kudus, Bowen, that on their day they can get you goals. Fixtures aren't bad, Forest and Everton. If you're on a free hit or something like that, I would be targeting West Ham potentially as a differential, but it's not enough for me to. There's not really any space in my midfield to bring in a Bowen or etc. Because I've got Salah, Palmer, and then Burma, and then the 2 cheap midfielders. So it's very hard to break that structure. But the 2 fixtures aren't bad for West Ham on paper.
No, not bad for West Ham. I wouldn't mind going for a little punt for 2 weeks on a West Ham asset. But in terms of the long-term plan for your team, I don't think any West Ham player fits into the equation because other midfielders are outperforming any West Ham asset, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay. And then finally, looking at Wolves, fixtures look really nice on paper. A lot of green fixtures in there. Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth, Everton, West Ham, Ipswich. That's the best run Wolves are probably going to get. We know Wolves have had a poor start to the season, but that is because they've had a very, very tough start. They've played likes of Chelsea, I think, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, I believe as well. Play some of the top teams. Now the fixtures turn. I think Aït-Nouri for these attacking threat. You could play him in most weeks here, I think. Cunha, very good option. I like him a lot. If you've got Cunha, I'd be happy to own him and play him in these games. Strand Larson, we've mentioned. Those 3, I think they're all good options. And if you need cheap players, Wolves are your team now to look at. I think it's been a bit unlucky. I expect their form to turn now because the fixtures are a lot easier for them.
Yep. Wolves will be the popular, obviously, assets to own in the next, for the foreseeable, because they have so many nice fixtures and then the best run of fixtures out of all the teams in the Premier League. So at this moment.
But yeah, also guys, make sure you do hit the like button if you're enjoying the content. There's quite a few of you in here, so hit the like. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. And we will wrap it up here. We're back again Thursday, and then shortly we will be back to doing 1 stream a week because we are changing the format of this video. We'll be doing the 1 podcast on Thursday and then deadline stream on the weekend, so 2 streams a week, and we're going to change up some of the videos. So do tune in for that. Should be a good one. But we're back Thursday for team selection. Come and tune in and see what we're going to do with our transfer plans for game week 10. But I think that's everything. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan?
Just thank you guys for watching. It's always appreciated your comments in the section and support. But yeah, until Thursday for the team selection, make sure you obviously enjoy your day, enjoy your week, and until then, see you soon.
Yep, take care, guys, and see you Thursday.